Shalom, this is Sophia, chief of the Americana Band of Indians, spiritual healer, philosopher, researcher, and devoted mother. This is yet another crop circle decode for 2024. As it turns out, this crop circle actually occurred before the last one that I said was the first, because this crop circle happened on June the 8th, but it was not in England, in the chalk district where they normally have the crop circles. This particular crop circle is located in a place called Genevieve, France. So it was kind of off the radar. It wouldn't show up with the normal crop circle folks, but I will decode any crop circle that comes to my desk. Just know that for sure. And this was one that landed. And so I wanted to discuss this. As you can see, this particular individual, he believes it looks like a serpent. In my opinion, and here's a close-up version of it, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 small circles, and then what looks like I guess maybe a circle around the other two circles, like something swooshing around. That does not indicate serpent to me personally, because if it was going to be a serpent, i.e., like the caduceus, I think is what it's called, where you have the serpents on both sides, it would be two. This is clearly only one. So to me, this looks like the moon phases. And I'm not sure what all of the 12 different circles are. I didn't get that too deep into the decode because I didn't want this to be too long. But I definitely see what looks like a moon phase at the top. And then at the bottom, that part would be what you would consider a dark moon, because there is no moon there. And then somewhere in the middle is kind of like the full moon, but because there's a circle, but it's totally covered up by this swoosh sort of action. So this is what I was thinking of when I saw this. And many of you have probably seen these type of moon sort of esque type things that look like this, things that look like this, where you have the moon. This one even has the swoosh from top to bottom. It made me also think of these, and specifically this one right here. This is the moon stick from Sailor Moon. And this stick was used for healing people, large groups of people, especially when they were actually hurt in the context of the Dark Kingdom interfering with them. So this is my little drawing interpretation of it. And I call this decode Saint Genevieve's invocation. This is calling in Saint Genevieve to help. Number one, it happened in Saint Genevieve in France, or it happened in Genevieve in France. And if you look up Genevieve in France, there is no information for Genevieve in France. Like, everything just directs you back to Saint Genevieve. And so this was a very important saint for the French people for over 1,000 years. This was a personal saint. They called on her for a lot of stuff, and she was capable of doing a lot of healings. So again, this crop circle was found on June the 8th. This was not the feast. Sorry, I forgot to take that out. Pardon me. I don't want to forget to take this out. It was not the feast. All right. So about Saint Genevieve, okay? She performed many miracles, just like Jesus when he was alive. She was a virgin saint, meaning she did not marry. And basically there was no convent nearby, so she couldn't go into a convent. She was invoked by the people for 1,000 years in France before she came to be mostly called upon by the royal family. And she was personally instrumental in building two major churches in France, one for the bishop and one for Saints Peter and Paul. So the crop circle design, as I mentioned, it appears to me to look like Sailor Moon's moonstick, which was used for healing. When I did look into St. Genevieve, what I could find was a St. Genevieve in Missouri. Now, it is my opinion that these things, they could be happening in the United States for all we know, to be honest. But our government would never let us know, so we can know about the ones that happen overseas. So it's almost like a hint to, hey, take a look at how this relates to what you guys got going on in the States, because basically it's like a replica. Europe is basically a replica of the Saints. So, St. Genevieve is in Missouri and was founded in the United States in 1735 as a part of the Louisiana Territory. And the city seems to be the French heartbeat for America, meaning it was a French city, and then it was called a French Connection because it connected with other French cities that were kind of on the Mississippi River. So this is literally like central France in America, basically. And in St. Genevieve, which they couldn't do in the French Quarter, they could grow wheat. Wheat could not grow down in the French Quarter, and so they shipped a lot of their wheat down to the French Quarter so that the quote unquote city French would have a space to, would be able to have this important crop, which allowed them to be able to eat, right? All right, so this city did have slaves. It didn't have that many, but the ones that it did have, it was always a huge problem. A few of them tried to run away. Then they offered like $1,600 in like the early 1800s if someone was to bring them back. And of course, they returned these four slaves. It was four slaves for $1,600. Somebody would bring them back. So they didn't have a lot of slaves, but this was a very, very small town. And so, when slavery was quote unquote abolished, basically there was not too many problems. You had people of color living there. You had these colonists or whatever living there. It was way more colonists than people of color living there. And basically it wasn't too many racial issues until something mysteriously happened in the 1930s, when state troopers had to be called to this very, very small town, twice, to prevent a triple lynching. They were going to lynch three people. And then once this word got around, the black people, it was 170 in the town and it was 170 outside the town. They got all of their stuff and they moved somewhere else. Okay. There is a Catholic church there named by the name of St. Genevieve, and it was the third Catholic church to be built in the town. Now, mind you, this is a very, very small town. So to have three churches built in this town, and then the French nuns came there and they built a monastery. So this is, like I said, in my opinion, this is invoking or evoking, depending on how you use the term, St. Genevieve. They have the Olympics that's coming up in France, and things from what I can see are not going so well. The French people are in huge revolt. And so this is like a plea, a call, a something to those people to invoke St. Genevieve so that your things can go well and you don't look like crazy. I know that this also happened June 8th. This was around the time when Macron dissolved his government and he faced this resounding defeat. So there's definitely a lot of stuff going on here in relation to that. So I hope you enjoyed this download, decode, whatever you call it. And we will, of course, be back with whatever happens next in the world of Crop Circle. So shalom.